What do Lorne Armstrong and this 60-year-old classic TV show have in common? You might just be surprised. The Twilight Zone is a show from the golden age of entertainment that broke new ground in terms of science fiction anthology series and television in general. Created in 1959 by former boxer and military veteran Rod Serling, the series will tackle a litany of social topics from racism to class struggles, hate mob politics, authoritarian rule, the futility of war, and more. One only needs to look at the success of a show like Black Mirror to see just how much of an influence this show has over 6 decades later on modern pop culture. I could go on and on about the development of the show, the genius in story writing, set design, practical effects, leaps in rear projection, and how it spawned countless imitators, reboots, sequels, and the like, but nothing can come close to the original. So what does any of this have to do with Lorne Armstrong? In many ways, the main conflict in many of the most popular Twilight Zone episodes is man versus self. Sure, there may be outside influences that in some way move the story along or provide some sort of external conflict, but in the end, it all comes down to the individual's own ability to fight their own demons, overcome their own obstacles, and find their own path. It was during a recent rewatch that I noticed a similarity between the messages portrayed way back on April 15, 1960, and the current life of Lorne Armstrong. Submitted for your approval, I present episode 28, season 1, titled A Nice Place to Visit. You have now entered the Twilight Zone. Harry Francis Rocky Valentine is a small-time hood whose life has been one run-in with the police after another. We learn most of what we need to know about Rocky through the brilliant introductory narration by Mr. Serling himself.
His name is Henry Francis Valentine, but he calls himself Rocky, because that's the way his life has been. Rocky and perilous and uphill at a dead run all the way. He's tired now. Tired of running or wanting, of waiting for the breaks that come to others but never to him. Never to Rocky Valentine.
For most of his life, Lorne has lived a mostly unspectacular existence. Other than allegedly excelling at basketball until he quit, thus devastating the Cornville Chickenhawks championship run of 1981, Lorne has not had what you would call an ideal life. After an unsuccessful stint in the military, he would crisscross the country working various jobs, stalking various women, romancing various catfish, paying some dude's car payment for Paula, and grooming various children. After returning to Maine and starting a business, unsatisfied former client Durango Mango was awarded around $30,000 in arbitration. Lorne had accepted payment for work he could not and did not finish. And in a town where everybody knows everything, this was enough to doom Lorne's fledgling business. With his head held in shame, Lorne fled the scene of his crime to Nashville, Tennessee, to start a new life, to chase an alleged dream. Back to his Twilight Zone counterpart. We don't learn a lot about our lead early on. The episode starts with Rocky attempting to evade justice after robbing a pawn shop. With his escape unlikely, a brief gunfight ensues, and Rocky Valentine was shot while trying to run from the police. Rocky falls to the ground, freshly pierced by an officer's bullet, and he passes away in seconds. He awakens to meet a kindly older man who introduces himself as Pip.
Mr. Valentine. Mr. Valentine.
You cop?
No. I'm your guide, as it were. My job is to see to it that you get what you want, whatever it may be.
Yeah? In exchange for what?
Nothing at all, Mr. Valentine. It's absolutely free.
Fortunately, we know much more about Lorne's life. On October 18th, 2007, at the age of 36, 37 today, Lorne would make the short drive to Kentucky, hopefully with enough gas to get there and back and there and back again, to meet underage teenage lover Kayla. Instead, he met Chris Hansen, a Dateline camera crew, and the men and women of the Bowling Green Police Department.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on Bullies. Now you're free to walk out of this house right now. But if there's anything else you want to say, now would be the time to say it.
Now, it could be argued that while laying on the cold ground, his face awash in tears, Lorne Armstrong himself died that night. After years of hiding his pedophilia in the shadowy world of chat rooms and messengers, he was forever exposed. Bold scarlet letters burned across his forehead reading R.S.O. It was the death of his dream, of his future, of his public persona. Just like Rocky, Lorne's life was ended at the hands of law enforcement after a failed attempt to escape responsibility.
Sheriff's office, down! Get down!
On the Twilight Zone, Rocky immediately becomes suspicious, thinking that Pip is trying to trick him. But Pip proves to have detailed information on Rocky's taste and hobbies. Pip gives Rocky $700 directly from his pocket and tells this former hood that he can have anything he wants. Well, Rocky is understandably suspicious, even standoffish, as the gifts and rewards given to him by Pip seem too good to be true. When a lavish meal is presented, Rocky is suspicious of poisoning and demands Pip eats first to settle his fears. When he declines, Rocky shoots Pip several times, but his bullets have no effect. It is only then that Rocky concludes what has happened. It is only then that Rocky understands he is dead. He soon has the realization he's in heaven and that Pip is his guardian angel.
Then all of this, the joint, the clothes, the booze, then I must be in heaven. Yeah, that's it. That's it, I'm in heaven, right? And you're my guardian angel, something like that?
Oh, something like that, yes, Mr. Valentine.
Anything I want, huh?
Anything.
Yeah, big talk, fatso, big talk. I want to see an election now.
As Pip says he can have anything he wants, Rocky asks for $1 million and a beautiful woman, and quickly has both requests fulfilled. This is heaven indeed. Back in our world, Pip was played expertly by Ember and Fierno. Sometime after Lorne's release from prison, he was befriended by Ember. Alone, desperate for contact, as well as desperate for love and attention, Ember was able to provide everything that Lorne wanted. There were adoring fans online. A church had sprung up with people who would sing his praises and discuss his innocence. Hell, they even loved his music.
I loved her first, I held her first, and a place in my heart will always be hers.
Now, this isn't to say that things were always smooth sailing between Ember and Lorne as they established their relationship and built what would become an ironclad bond, but just like Rocky and Pip, she would eventually prove that she was in fact real and could give Lorne everything he ever wanted. It wouldn't be long before Lorne would have a girlfriend, multiple women fighting over him online, a YouTube channel with thousands of subscribers, and a future as bright as the Arizona sun. Lorne Armstrong was in heaven. Now, Rocky's a man who enjoys heaven. He visits a casino, winning every bet he makes as beautiful girls gather around him, and he enjoys being able to torment a police officer. But 1 month later, Rocky has become bored with having his whims instantly satisfied. When he asks to see some of his other friends who have died and presumably gone to heaven as well, he is informed that that's not possible, as every person goes into the afterlife alone. In fact, the women, the casino workers, police officers, they are all fake. He wins every game at the casino, and the women will do everything he wants. But there's no challenge. He calls Pip and asks for some sort of a challenge in which he might run the risk of losing. Pip offers to arrange for him to lose once in a while at the casino, but Rocky dismisses the idea, as he would know all about the setup. Where's the fun in that? Pip suggests robbing a bank, but Rocky quickly abandons that idea as well, since a pre-planned outcome would take the thrill all out of the crime. Deciding that he will go crazy if he stays in heaven any longer, he asks Pip to take him to the other place.
Everything is great, Hasty. Really great. It's just the way I always imagine it, except that... Well, just between you and me, Fats, I don't think I belong here. I don't think I fit in.
Oh, nonsense. Of course you do.
Oh, no, I mean it. It's just somebody must have goofed. If I gotta stay here another day, I'm gonna go nuts. Look, I don't belong in heaven, see? I want to go to the other place.
Pip has grown so tired of having everything he wants, he is ready to go to hell. And this is when we get the famous Twilight Zone twist.
I want to go to the other place.
Heaven? Whatever gave you the idea you were in heaven, Mr. Valentine? This is the other place.
A horrified Rocky tries in vain to open the now locked apartment door and escape his paradise, as Pip laughs maniacally. Harry Francis Rocky Valentine, and getting everything he ever wanted, will live out eternity in his own personal hell amongst the sea of people who aren't actually there. It was a nice place to visit, but a horrible way to spend eternity for a man addicted to the thrill of unmitigated risk. The closing narration was simple, effective, and to the point.
Now he has everything he's ever wanted, and he's going to have to live with it for eternity in the Twilight Zone.
In the Twilight Zone, Ember opened up a sea of friends, enemies, storylines, and arcs into the world of Lorne Armstrong. But unlike Rocky Valentine, Lorne doesn't keep winning. Lorne wants nothing more than control. This is demonstrated both in the way he made demands on Kayla, as well as the demands he made on current Catfish, even while not dating. Let's not forget the demands made on family members for token food rewards in exchange for gifting them money. Heaven to Lorne would be a loving, forgiving, and mothering woman who is willing to put up with his many negative traits, love unconditionally, and provide him every ounce of quantity time she can afford. He wants the small talk until the morning hours, message throughout the day, and have at least one nightcap call to reassure him of his importance in his girlfriend's life. And he usually gets it early on. His initial conversations with Ramona, Casey, Jamie, Casey, Debbie, Winnie, and Casey were pleasant, sometimes even flirty, with Lorne feeling a sense of superiority, a love-struck sense of awe, and most importantly, hope. The number of nights Lorne has gone to sleep dreaming about marriage with one of a number of fictional women is only surpassed by the number of nights he's passed out in a drunken stupor. But of course, in the Twilight Zone, there's always a twist. It wouldn't be long until obstacles would be put in Lorne's way. Romantic rivals who are better educated, employed, endowed, and of course not registered sex offenders. What has started as regular contact would dwindle as Lorne's insecurities, jealousy, and rage would boil closer and closer to the surface. As the Catfish, scenarios, rivals, and storylines grew increasingly more fantastic, so did Lorne's reactions, responses, and rage as he failed to control any aspect of his life. Make no mistake about it. If you would have told Lorne 20 years ago that one day he would have multiple girlfriends, thousands of fans online, national TV appearances, and people hanging on and analyzing his every word, he would have called this heaven. Much like when Pip told Rocky that nobody in his personal hell was real, Lorne too knows that the people he spent time with for years, lusting and longing for, were fabrications. Unlike Rocky, Lorne isn't physically locked in, stuck in this predicament forever, but mentally, he's in a similar cage. In this battle of man versus self, so often portrayed on the Twilight Zone, Lorne has decided to accept his fate with the knowledge that without these fake friends and lovers, he's just another skunk-doused pedophile perusing the aisles of his local Walmart. Portrait of a balding man, deep in the cold, harsh reality of yet another isolated Maine winter, murmuring softly in a dilapidated trailer. After a lifetime of causing pain to others, Lorne Armstrong languishes in what could be his final years on the planet, with the knowledge that his only contributions to this world have come at the expense of others, or his freedom. Somewhat aware of his role in a larger story, Lorne has come to a fork in the road. Does he turn left and cut off all contact with the outside world because of the threat of online trolls? Or does he take the road right and accept that all will never be what it seems? Whatever he chooses, those are his only two options. Because just like the busy stretch of highway between Nashville, Tennessee and the Dateline Stinghouse, there are no U-turns or off-ramps in the Twilight Zone.
Fuck you, Clobber.